good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, whether you're in the world, it is your Lord and Saviour, and today we are reacting to the latest Clan Tremere Bloodlines 2 gameplay trailer. Good God, that's a fucking mouthful. Now we're doing things a little differently because I am unable to sit down and do like a proper recording in front of the trailer with a nicer sound quality, not dealing with fucking planes going over my head and all the rest of it, purely because my kitchen is being renovated and we live in a tiny little household and it's very difficult to do that with all that noise going on, and I would like to get that done this week, the video that is, but I don't think the kitchen's going to be done this week, so this is the compromise that we're going to have to make all the same, which is fine, because last night, the 10th of September 2025, in the year of our Lord Talos, I watched the trailer, I made some notes, and this morning, I don't think I need to fucking tell you what date it is today, I looked at the write-up on the Paradox's website of Clan Tremere, and before I give my proper analysis of the trailer, for which it's not going to be terribly involved, little gripe, and this is a very personal nitpicky one. I do not like the fact that you have those like red sunglasses things with fire. Not because of the fact that she's an elf or anything, because we've seen that Maximilian Strauss would wore those rather stylishly in Bloodlines 1, and that's kind of the issue that I have, because since then that has become like the de facto Tremere style piece, which I find a little bit frustrating. Because as cool as the Tremere are, they are one of my favourite clans. They are usurpers. They basically ate their way into power using a weird combination of weird ye olde magic and a process known as the aberry, which is a process where a vampire not only drains the blood of a vampire, but they ingest their soul as well, the very life essence from them as well, which is all... Now, I've done a lore dive with them. It's going to appear on a card somewhere now for you to go and Google at, I should say. And I don't like it that since then, in pretty much every single iteration of the Tremere has had that sort of like smart neo-goth sort of get-up. Like, as I was originally saying before I distracted myself, as cool as the Tremere are, I don't think they are that stylishly called for every single fucking one of their clan members to pull that shit off. Furthermore, it's all part of that bit of nostalgia baiting I'm not particularly fond of, because it's like falsely trying to lure people in, oh, this is going to be like a proper extension of Bloodlines. It's not, it's Bloodlines in name, by my opinion. And look, the Tremere wear those little glasses and all like, oh, it's very close to what Bloodlines was like with the Tremere outfit. It's like, yeah, it kind of irritates me, like it's trying to lean too much into the nostalgia and the legacy of the original Bloodlines, whilst doing everything it can to be completely different to the original Bloodlines as well. How Bloodlines 2 is very action focused. Yeah, a bit to the original Bloodlines 1, but that was just more to do with its like really shitty development cycle, etc. and so forth. This has been talked about to death by all sorts of people, myself included. But what about the Tremere trailer in general? Well, for better and possibly for worse, it follows similar sort of narrative beats as the Adventure trailer did, which you should go and check out if you haven't done already, because I might be referring to that quite a bit. You have Fabian whittling away in your head, telling you a bit about the Tremere. He'll tell you about a Tremere person in a sort of like funny sidekick kind of way, which I'm honestly beginning to find a little fucking grating, which definitely is not going to be an issue in the gameplay, I have no doubt. We introduced to the Tremere Primogen old woman person. I don't remember exactly who is who, quite frankly I don't care, but she was an important figure for the Tremere. Elderly individual, as in like they look like an old person they were embraced pretty late into their mortal life, which at the time I communicated just how cool that was, because so often we have characters that are young and stereotypically sexy looking, but we've got this old woman here who's got great inflections of her vocal performance, funny enough. We've still got a lot of the robotics animation stuff going on with practically everyone else, but they've nailed that old woman perfectly. I just wish that we could have more vampires of colour and much larger vampires as well. Not like a tall thing, but like wider, you know, a bit on the chunky end of things. That would be really fucking cool, because, you know, all those sorts of people can be really fucking attractive as well. We have a display of some of the Tremere powers and about what they can do, which if we put this into an MMO perspective for just a moment, or like a team shooter sort of thing, which is the sort of vibe I'm getting with the Tremere here. They're very much like an arranged attack sort of person, and a lot of their powers are focusing on distracting and draining people away bit by bit with their blood sorcery, and their passive ability allows them to basically dissolve the bodies upon those that they feed upon. It's like there's no fucking power that the Tremere have access to that can do that. I'm not entirely too sure where most of the Tremere powers come from with this. They're probably in other source books that I've missed, because regarding 5th edition there was a certain cut-off point I've had with some of its more recent material, so it could be in that. I mean, I recognise Cauldron of Blood, which works slightly differently here to what it does in the fucking core book, but you know what, I don't mind that liberty being taken there, because there's a lot of interpretation you can do with all that blood-based hocus-pocus shit. There are some cooler moments in the trailer, I have to admit. We do see that like a weird eye/gate symbol that's on fire, you know, the sort of logo for VTMB2 at the moment. We see that in Fire's detective mode, or specs, just for a moment. So it seems to be fairly important to the story. Now, I know that seems like a fucking facetious thing to say, but we haven't seen or heard a lot of it other than, you know, Fire's all covered in these fucking marks now and their powers have been capped somehow, but we don't know a lot about this at the moment, which is absolutely fine. You know, it's obviously something we're going to find out during the gameplay, but it's nice to see it within the actual world rather than it just being described onto her, literally. It's a nice little thing. Something I found a little annoying, like a cringy sort of level, is that in the cafe where you speak to old Tremere lady person, you have like this chalkboard with all like these sort of goth pun, drink, food items, which I suppose is fairly realistic because I've been into cafes before where it's owned by older people and they try to be like hip with the kids. We're coming up with like pun related names. But me, with the negative bias I have with Bloodlines 2 and the whole nostalgia baiting thing, it feels it's trying a bit too fucking try hard with its goth influences here. Like, why would an old woman who's old in this cafe be interested in any of that? I mean, Edgar Allan Poe, sure, I suppose, but a bit on the nose, mate, maybe. And then again, the sort of weird fucking shit you see that people actually fucking do that, you know. Is it really that much of a Masquerade violation? Is it a bit too on the nose? Does it raise that much suspicion? Well, if we take the Second Inquisition and the vampire hunters that exist within the 5th edition setting as written, yeah, they would be on that fucking shit like a rocket, but, you know, they're just being rather nitpicky here, and as I said, that's a fairly small little thing that I just found a little annoying, like an eye-rolling cringe level sort of thing. But the comments for that video on the YouTube upload seem to be very favourable with this Tremere trailer, and people were excited, and of course you still had a few people here and there that were concerned, annoyed, frustrated, whatever, about the Day 1 DLC situation, because it hasn't really been properly addressed, other than the fact that we heard, we listened, we're going to share more information at this specific date, just shy of a month before the game comes out, which I think is a little annoying. But then again, if they're pulling all of those into the main game, all those being the Lasombra and Torador Clan player options, then that might take a bit of work with like the coding and whatever, and discussing with Steam, Sony, whatever means that they have to do to put those storefront page of things up online. I don't know how any of that works. So then again, it's a very specific date, you know, so who fucking knows? And of course we get the different customization outfits and the eyeline and all the rest of that for Clan Tremere, which is nice, I guess. I mean, for me it's a little frustrating because I feel at this point it's sort of shoving it in people's faces that there's customization options, because despite their best means of communication, people are still unaware that you can in actual fact customize your vampire a little bit. It's not totally unique, of course, because you're dealing with like the two body types, male, female presenting sort of thing, and they do look very similar as well, which sort of adds to the frustration of things. But it just feels a bit foot in your fucking face at this point, because people haven't been paying attention or weren't aware or whatever, but clearly something has gone wrong for that to be like a constant thing to be brought up in every single fucking trailer now. And that's just kind of where I sit with this trailer, to be honest, because the Venture one was just like, it was a unique direction, at least unique compared to the 15 times the trailers that we looked at before. But this just feels very similar to the Ventru one, there. As I said, it follows a similar sort of style. Here's the powers, here's some important characters, here's some power usage. But that's it. It doesn't appeal to me that the Tremere and Blood Sorcery is very combat focused, which, if you've had a look at any fucking Tremere NPC and player character, for the most part, of course, there are exceptions to every rule, they don't usually become absolute combat monsters. They're sort of in the back, investigative sort of work. It doesn't really feel like a good representation of the Tremere to me. The Tremere do not throw fucking blood dart bullet things around. They do not exercise some of the really fucking powerful thaumaturgy so easily. Yes, she's an elder, so yeah, it makes a bit more sense. But there doesn't really seem to be much consequence in terms of like power and resources. Like, obviously discipline uses blood, and that's going to be a thing in the game, of course, but I didn't really feel anything for this. It just feels like we need to rinse and repeat this formula to get people engaged, to make people feel that it remotely resembles Bloodlines, even though the voice acting for a lot of it seems very stilted and jaded. Oh, that's something else, that we actually have a bit more of male fire voice acting now for a change, which I think is pretty neat, and I missed it in the first trailer. It seems that we got a bit more of it here. I don't know, it just doesn't really do much for me. And like, I'd expected something that was a bit more unique. But I mean, I suppose like the Tremere NPCs that were introduced to show different aspects of the Tremere, like the scientist woman who appears to be selling fire and some sort of like random ass goose chase and the elderly lady sort of thing, shows different sides of the Tremere, but you as the player don't seem to be fitting in that mould at all. It just feels a bit weird, and overall I feel the trailer is a bit meh for my own personal tastes, and especially when you compare it to the Ventru trailer, which I felt was a bit more optimistic because it actually felt like a fucking trailer. There were still people in that video that thought I was being too fucking negative with it, which I think is outstanding, as I thought that was the most positive I've been for any of these fucking Chinese room Bloodlines trailers. Well, yes. But yeah, I feel a bit more disappointed with this one, just because, I don't know, I'd expected something that was a bit more Tremere-centric, something that felt more Tremere-y, you know, and this wasn't, and it was just a little bit of a wet fart, because it now feels that the rest of the clan trailers are going to be following this formula of like, it feels like that Fabian's going to make some sort of like smart-ass comics, comedy psychic sort of thing, introduce a couple of NPCs here and there. It wasn't really much for me to hold on to. Like, I'm curious to see what the fucking Lasombra and Toreador is going to be like, and try and work out why the fuck they were going to be, or still will be, DLC clans, because again, that hasn't been sorted out as of the recording of this video, and as when this video goes live on the YouTube, so that'll be fun to postulate and speculate about. So hopefully when we do the next clan trailers, I won't be out and about like this, although I feel nice and a bit of countryside does people a bit of good every now and again. So yeah, I don't love this trailer, I don't hate it either, I just think it's like the equivalent of a wet fucking fart, to be honest, which is a shame, because I think you could have done some really unique things with the Tremere here, or have a bit of unique gameplay dedicated to them, like doing rituals or potions or something of that nature that showcased that the Tremere function differently from everyone else, other than it's just a different variant of action play style. But alas, that's what we have to work with. But what I would love to know, to see how many of my viewers of the Lord by Night YouTube channel liked the trailer for the Clan Tremere for Bloodlines 2. Was it good? Was it great? Was it meh? Or was it just shit? I'd like to see what all of you think about this in the comments below. Of course, if you would like to learn more about Vampire the Masquerade via the TTRPG, you can go and play that via the TTRPG books I'll leave in the description below. Now, if you purchase them with those specific links, I get some of the money back because I'm an affiliate from Drive-Thru RPG, and that sort of coinage helps to financially support the channel. which is amazing shit, because you get books, I get books, and you get content for free, so it's a win-win chicken dinner situation for you. But if you've got those books already, or you don't like them, or want to support me some other way financially, what you can do is copy and paste the affiliate codes down there and paste it into the URL of any Drive-Thru-RPG product, and that helps as well, which is absolutely amazing shit really. But I understand that times are hard for all of us, and that isn't an option for some of us, which is absolutely fine. This is totally optional. I'm not going to like torture you with blood cauldron to make you do this. If you can do that, that's great, but if you can't, that's absolutely fine. But what you should definitely do regardless is give the video a little cheeky little thumbs up, subscribe to the Lord by Night channel, and share this video with any and everyone who loves what I do, and I'll see you on the next upload, wherever that may well be for you. And until next time, farewell.